Manchester City have won one of their last 12 games. You heard that right. The Premier League champions, four-peat Manchester City, are getting pumped every single week. And do you know what? Unai Emery, everyone knows my thoughts on how good of a manager I think he is. And he proved it again today. Aston Villa were fantastic from minute 1 to minute 90. And Manchester City had their big boys out there today. They had the Stones, the Akanjis, the Fodens, the Silvers, the Haalands, the Grealishes. And they absolutely stink. They stink. Manchester City, if you thought they were out of the title race, 100% now, it is done. If Liverpool win their game in hand and tomorrow, they are something like 14 points ahead. What on earth is going on with Manchester City right now? And I'm going to be honest. I think you do need to give Pep the January window. But how long does this continue before his job as his role as the Manchester City manager is seriously questioned? Make sure you go down. Make sure you drop a like if you haven't already. Make sure you have subscribed to the channel. Lots of football on this weekend. Arsenal match reaction later to Crystal Palace. Tomorrow is the big one, Liverpool versus Spurs. And of course, in between all that, you've got Man United and Chelsea playing. But make sure you go down, drop a like. Make sure you have subscribed to the channel. We are sitting here. It's the 21st of December. And Man City are all over the place. This was the lineup they played. Ortega, Vardial, Stones, Akanji, Lewis. I actually thought Lewis was the only one really of that back line that had a reasonable game. Kovacic and Gundo, Silva, Foden, Grealish, Haaland. And unfortunately for City, Stones picked up a knock, which meant Kyle Walker come on. Once again, Kevin De Bruyne not used from the bench. Something's going on there internally. There's no way you wouldn't use your best player. Ake, he's not back to full fitness. He did bring on, however, Doku, Savinho, and of course, Kyle Walker. But this Aston Villa lineup, Yuri Tielemans, my man of the match. You could give a man of the match to John McGinn. You could give a man of the match to Rodgers, Duran, or Tielemans. Or even Onana had a really good game. I thought Yuri Tielemans was the best player on the park, and it wasn't even close. Aston Villa were absolutely magnificent. As much as you can rip Manchester City apart for saying your shape wasn't right, you know, the urgency in the Manchester City team, it's absolutely shocking. You lose in a game. 2-0 and Haaland's just jogging over to press Konsa. Aston Villa's press was absolutely relentless. Yuri Tielemans picking up pockets of space on the turn. The amount of defence splitting passes he made. You know, Morgan Rodgers absolutely bodying that Manchester City midfield. John Duran's work ethic, tracing back to win the ball, running for lost causes. Absolutely magnificent Aston Villa were, and they deserve all 3 points. And Aston Villa have been a bit up and down recently. They lost to Nottingham Forest. They narrowly beat Southampton. They got battered by Chelsea only a few games ago, and now they've got back to winning ways. They've actually got a really good home record this season. I only think Liverpool, Arsenal, and Brentford, as it stands, are the only teams to have a better home record. And as it stands, they're only below Nottingham Forest now on goal difference. They are still conceded a hell of a lot of goals. You know, they've only conceded one more than City. But Manchester City are currently sitting 6th. And if Bournemouth win, and if Fulham win, wow. If Fulham beat whoever they're playing this weekend, and Bournemouth win with the right goal difference, Manchester City could... Who's in 9th? Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. Manchester City could be 9th. If Brighton beat West Ham, I don't know who Bournemouth are playing. I think they've got United. I can't remember who Fulham are playing. Manchester City could be sitting mid-table. The Premier League's a very, very ruthless league this season. Everyone is beating everyone. But Manchester City today, you know, I thought Morgan Rodgers was fantastic. Putting out the Cole Palmer celebration. Well, he claims it's his, but I always call it the Cole Palmer celebration. The headlines about City being poor It's their 6th defeat of the Premier League campaign. They've won 1 of their last 12, which was against Nottingham Forest. They've lost in that time to Aston Villa, Sporting, Brighton, Tottenham twice, Manchester United. It is just getting to the point now where it looks like it's never going to end. And eventually you keep saying to yourself, like, at some point, they are going to win a game. But if I'm being brutally honest with you right now, I do not see where I said this 3 weeks ago. I don't see where they win a game. Defensively, they are shambles. Their midfield is weak. They've got Everton on Boxing Day, which is Thursday, which is another midday kickoff. If they can't beat Everton or Leicester, then they've got West Ham. But they've lost the fear factor now. Teams are happy to play Manchester City. Look at these results. These results, if you look at their last 8 games, right, let me just zoom out and go through it. Battered by us. We absolutely destroyed them. Threw away a 3-goal lead against Feyenoord. Liverpool toyed with them. Fair enough, they beat Nottingham Forest. Horrendous against Crystal Palace. All the ball you want, lost to Juventus. Man United, not even, that was one of the worst Manchester derbies I've ever watched in quality, but United still beat them. And Aston Villa destroyed them today. They absolutely destroyed them. We'll get to the goals in a minute, but at what point do you turn around and say, this can't continue? I understand they're going to get the January window, but we could be sitting here with Manchester City winning the Premier League last year and finishing mid-table. You know, that is categorically unacceptable. Should never got rid of Julian Alvarez. Didn't replace Mahrez properly. It's poor recruitment for the last 3 years, in my opinion. And Aston Villa 100% deserved the lead. Yuri Tielemans plays for an absolute defence-splitting pass to Morgan Rodgers, who is unselfish, who puts it on a plate for John Duran, and it's a good finish. People might say it's lucky. I think it's a good finish. When you look at Manchester City right now, there is a blueprint on how to beat them, be physical in midfield, and counter-attack them. Guardiola, at this moment in time, has no answers. We are currently sitting here right now. Man City are in the bin. They're absolutely in the bin. I don't actually know what to say to City fans. It must be horrendous. It must be absolutely horrendous right now. Looking at what's going on with that football club. You know, 1-0 down at half-time. Aston Villa, you know, Onana pulling the strings in midfield. Yuri Tielemans, like I said, was fantastic. Guardiola's changes in the second half. I don't get it. Okay, he took off John Stones for Kyle Walker. That probably could be an injury. He's only just got back from an injury, and you feel like City aren't really catching much of a break. And they go 2-0 up on the hour. John McGinn plays a lovely pass into Morgan Rodgers, who takes it past Kyle Walker and just puts it into Ortega's bottom left corner. The amount of space John McGinn had in the second half, I thought was unacceptable. Substitutions, once again, made too late. Savinho should have come on at half-time. Gundogan was poor. Aston Villa brought on Ollie Watkins. He had a chance as well to make it 3-0. And, of course, City do eventually score, which is Phil Foden. You know, Savinho created that goal. Phil Foden gets his first goal of the season, and we're currently sitting halfway through it. And they ended up losing 2-1. But we're currently sitting here with, as it stands, on the 21st of December, Liverpool have got 2 games in hand over Manchester City. And as it stands, they are 9 points clear. They could be 15 points clear once they play that game in hand if they beat Tottenham tomorrow, which I don't know. It depends on which Spurs side turns up. For the title race, just for the excitement of it, I would hope that Liverpool drop a few games to open it up for Chelsea and Arsenal. But it is done now. 1 win in their last 6 games in the Premier League. 1 win in their last 12. In the Champions League, they're in an absolute diabolical position. Absolutely diabolical. And they've got PSG coming up, right? And PSG have got to win. I don't think Manchester City will win that game. It's at the point now where they are crying out for a January window. There's been a lot of reports that that Zubimendi is being heavily linked with Manchester City. I don't think Zubimendi is going to make too much of a difference. They're currently sitting 23rd in the Champions League. They're below Celtic. They're below Club Brugge. They're below Sporting and Monaco. At what point do you turn around and say something has to change? I'm not suggesting that Guardiola gets the sack. What I'm suggesting is a massive rebuild. Kyle Walker, not good enough. Jack Grealish needs to be sold. Edison wants to move to Saudi. Ortega, probably, if I was him, I'd go for that Bayern Munich job. Neuer's now 37. Go and get it done, right? Gundogan, too old. You know, shouldn't have sold Alvarez. Shouldn't have sold Laporte. Should not have sold Riyad Mahrez. It's week in, week out. Manchester City are getting absolutely pumped. And I'll be honest, at this moment in time, I will be astonished, absolutely astonished, if they get top four. Let alone win a title, get top four. Brentford away. The best home side in the league right now, Brentford. I don't think they're even going to beat Ipswich. You know, the best bet for Manchester City is do everything you can to win that FA Cup and try and do everything you can to win the Champions League, because the league is done. If you can get out of this season with winning an FA Cup and having a good Champions League run, I think every single City fan right now should be optimistic about that. Because this right now is disgusting. You know, I'd love to know your thoughts down below. Make sure you go down and drop a like. Make sure you have subscribed. Arsenal Crystal Palace match reaction will be out later on around 7:30. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you all for watching. I am out.